What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is going to be Arrow Season 3 Part 2 review. I've been doing 9, 7, and 7 because that's just, it worked out numbers-wise, but I'm looking at when the dates were and kind of how the story feels. It really feels like it went 9 and then 6, and then it looks like the last is just going to be 8. So this is going to be episodes 10 through 15, starting with Left Behind, which is the one where Oliver is recovering from his practical death experience, all the way to 15, which is Nanda Parbat, where all the stuff happening with Malcolm Merlyn and all that. So first off, I'm just going to talk about the one or two things that are just really bugging me right now. And that is, some of the stuff that's going on just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Like, all this... Okay. So, Oliver's presumed dead because Malcolm goes to find his body, can't find him, finds the sword that Raish left there, and so everybody believes he's dead. Everybody's like, "Oh no, Oliver's dead!" So they're fighting. They're doing everything they can to stop this. What's his name? Something Brickwell. So they're doing everything they can to try to stop him, but they can't. They're struggling. Laurel steps in the shoes of Sarah and tries to take him on, and they're just not able to do. And then Oliver makes it back just in time as they're having this big epic fight, and steps in to help. He doesn't do a whole lot, but he does step in and kind of save the day at the last minute, and then keeps Malcolm Merlyn from killing Brickwell. So he steps in, saves the day, and before this, Malcolm Merlyn wants to get to Brickwell because he's the one that killed his wife, and so he goes to Felicity, Laurel, Diggle, and Roy about help. And pretty much as a group, they say no. I think it's Felicity and Laurel are just like, hell no, and Diggle, I guess, said no. But Roy was kind of like, after talking to Thea, said he does want to help this city, so maybe we should just let him help us, or something along those lines. But then he gets overruled by the rest of the group, so they don't ask for his help. So going past all that, skipping ahead, Oliver is now looking to Malcolm Merlyn because he wants to be trained by Malcolm Merlyn because the student can beat the master type thing. So he wants Malcolm Merlyn to train him, and everybody hates him for it. And it's just really frustrating. From him coming back until pretty much once he comes back until the end of the second part, is pretty much everybody questioning him. And it's not like they haven't questioned him before, and most of the time he's been right. This time maybe it's a bit more questionable, but here's my main problem. They contradict themselves so much. When he left to go face Raish, Felicity was really worried because of his standards, his morals that he has now, that he wasn't going to kill Raish. And she's like, you have to kill him. So she wanted him to get rid of his morals when he faced him. So when he comes back and says that he needs to work with Malcolm Merlyn to be able to get rid of Raish, she's like, I didn't think you'd ever give up your morals. I'm just like, wait a minute. Didn't you tell him before he left that he needed to? Like, weren't you the one that said he needed to kill Raish? That you were worried that Raish was going to use his humanity against him? And now you're upset that he is trying to give up his standards to stop? Like, what it... Where's the thought process there? That doesn't make any sense. And she's also upset because she didn't. She thought that maybe he would go and face Raish. Maybe he would come to some sort of enlightenment and change. He's clearly changed. He's realized now that he has to sacrifice part of himself if he wants to defeat Raish. And you're talking like he hasn't changed at all. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, did the writers like write this script for her and then change the story beforehand and forget to change her lines? Because it doesn't make any sense at all. And to make it even worse, when he's talking about working with Malcolm Merlyn to face Ra's al Ghul, all of them, of course, are like, what, you can't work with him. Well, I can't remember. I think it was the one where Laurel got stabbed with the vertigo thing, and so she's like having a seizure on the table. Thea comes down and sees it, and Oliver tells her to get out, and Roy's just like, "Hey man, don't talk to her like that." I'm just like, where is this coming from? After she leaves and they have their moment where they're talking about it, Roy is upset with Oliver for going along with Malcolm Merlyn and letting him get his claws deeper into Thea. And so I take you back to that scene we had earlier, where Roy was like, maybe we can work with Malcolm Merlyn. When did he change his mind? Because there was nothing in between that scene and that scene that made me think, oh yeah, Roy doesn't like Malcolm anymore because of this. There was no scene like that. There was no scene where Malcolm did something despicable that made Roy say, never mind, we can't work with Malcolm Merlyn. It was just nowhere. I'm so confused. And it's so frustrating because most of this show has been the main characters not getting along. It's been a running theme. In the first season, I kept talking about how it felt like every single episode was Oliver and John just arguing. In the second season, it felt like Oliver and John, or Oliver and Felicity, or Oliver and Thea, or Oliver and his mom, always arguing with somebody because somebody's always got to argue against them. And at the end of the episode, they both just like, I was wrong. No, I was wrong. It's the same stuff. Except now, it's just like every single episode is them telling him how wrong he is. And at the end of the episode, instead of them both saying, I was wrong, no, I was wrong, now it's just them saying, screw it. I don't even care anymore. It's just, they disagree, and that's it. They don't try to work it out. They don't try to convince each other otherwise. They both just disagree, and that's it. It's just a running theme. I'm getting tired of it, to be honest. The thing is that I've been able to look over a lot of the nitpicky stuff in this show because I've enjoyed the stuff around it. The action was good. The story overall was pretty good. Just some of the relationship stuff was really bugging me. But now it's gotten to a point where that relationship stuff or that interaction between characters is either poorly done or just not done well at all. Like, in such a way that, like I said with Felicity, we have that scene where she pretty much contradicts everything that she said before Oliver left. And so I'm kind of frustrated in that the show has done very well up until this point at telling the story and not contradicting itself, not really... the characters have had struggle inside. They've had internal struggles. So in that case, maybe it has contradicted itself here and there. But that's because the character was going through an internal struggle. Right now, there's not really, there are some internal struggles, but there's nothing that would cause Felicity to go, oh, I'm worried that you're going to not give up your morals. I can't believe you're giving up your morals. That doesn't make any sense. Like, it really doesn't make any sense at all. And then there was one other thing. Oh, Laurel and her dad. Her dad now is like not talking to her. And his reasoning was very. It wasn't wrong. I understand, he's upset that she lied and stuff. And he's talking about how, her mother and her sister were very alike. And he felt like him and her were very alike. And so he's upset that she lied because it ruined that trust between them or something like that. I get it. But at the same time, do you not understand why she wouldn't tell you? Like, does it not make sense to you that you have heart problems? Maybe she had a good reason not to tell you? Like, it just seems very unreasonable that he would just completely stop talking to his only daughter because she lied to him because she didn't think he could handle the news of his other daughter dying. Very reasonable. He has heart issues. He passed out on the pier the end of last season because his daughter was leaving to go with the League of Assassins. The daughter dying might be a bit of an issue, you would think. So, and the thing is, like, whenever she says, that her mother already knew, he's like, oh, I guess you weren't worried about her heart. She doesn't have heart issues, you moron! It's gone back to that thing where, well, actually, at this point now, in the first season, I thought her dad was stupid. Second season, I thought she was stupid. Now they're both acting stupid. You've got Laurel so concerned with the revenge of Sarah's murder that she's completely blind to anything Oliver's saying. And on top of that, she doesn't know how to fight or anything. Maybe a little bit, but not like how she needs to know how to fight. And instead of suggesting, hey, maybe you should train me, she just continues to push Oliver away like, no, I can handle this on my own. I can do this on my... And she keeps getting the crap beat out of her. I don't feel bad for her anymore. But now her father acting like an idiot to her has got me hating both of them. So that's frustrating to watch. It's just all so... not all of it, but all of the stuff I just mentioned is very frustrating. And so whenever it happens, I'm just sitting here watching, and I'm just like, I like this show. I really do. But I'm about to start throwing something at the TV. 'Cause, yeah. So anyway, those are my frustrations. Let me talk about now what is good. 1. Chase. I was really, really, really pissed off when they brought him in. And I'm still really, really pissed off that he was even a part of it. It would have been one thing to introduce a guy that was Ra's al Ghul's agent. I get that. But to have it be this guy. Because the thing is, it's not even the way he was acting. I've seen guys act like him before, so sure of themselves, so cocky and arrogant, like, psh, I own this room. I've seen people like that before. But to see Thea actually falling for it made me want to punch somebody in the face. Not her, just somebody. Because I'm not going to say it never happens in real life, because it probably does, but why? It's one thing to have confidence. It's another thing to be an arrogant, cheeky, little punk, smug. And it just... The thing is, it wasn't like he was being arrogant and she was just like completely pushing him away and just like, dude, you're an idiot. It was like he was being arrogant and she's just like, if you really want to work hard, maybe you should try to work on your game. And I'm just like, you're clearly flirting with him, so obviously it's working on you for some stupid freaking reason. And so that was just, it was really frustrating to watch, even though it did turn out he had a decent story. I honestly thought he was just going to be there just to be a frustration for Roy because, he was hitting on Thea, and I was like, oh great, they're going to do that. So to have him turn out to be like a secret agent for Ra's, was a good twist, but I don't know. I just still didn't like that character, and I really didn't like how Thea was reacting to it because I don't know. It just frustrates me when people who are that arrogant end up getting exactly what they want. It's like, why? If it happens in real life, that's not scripted. This is scripted, and you're giving him exactly what he wants, which means he has even more reason to be arrogant, which means I'm going to have even more reason to want to smack his little smug look off his face. So, I liked it, but at the same time, still annoying to watch. I like the opening now, because there really isn't one. They have that, opening arrow thing. But it was kind of, I don't know, it was kind of the same feeling. And of course, on Netflix, sometimes they actually skip over the opening part if you start watching it in succession. Um, but one thing that DC's Legends of Tomorrow does, and Supergirl, is that they have like an opening sequence, and then they have previously on whatever. Um, like Legends of Tomorrow has Rip Hunter talking, narrating, saying, in the year whatever, Vandal Savage killed my wife and son, so I assembled this. And then after he does his little 30-second opening, then they have like another 30 seconds of previously on Legends of Tomorrow. And at that point, I've already almost checked out, as a viewer. So you want to keep it semi-short, whether it's you want to show previously or you just want to show an opening narration. Do one or the other, but don't do both. I think one that really handled it well is Burn Notice, because the narration wasn't 30 seconds long. It was more like 15 seconds. And then they did the previously. And even then, the previously wasn't that long either. So they really handled that well, whereas Supergirl and Legends of Tomorrow do not. They have very long openings. And Arrow used to have that. He had that opening where he's talking about I have to become something more. And then they would do previously on Arrow and show everything that happened up until then. Now it's just it opens and that's it. There's no previously, there's no narration. It just opens, and then to let you know you're watching Arrow, it has that dun 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 dun. I'm just like, yeah, I'm getting into it. It's intense. So, I am happy to see that they changed that, because that, even though I wasn't really experienced it on Netflix, it's nice to know that they have fixed that. So if I do want to watch it on TV, I'm not going to have to experience the minute-long opening. Other good things. I kind of like the Maseo storyline, like the whole Hong Kong thing and Amanda Waller and stuff like that. Although I kind of feel like she's gonna become a bad guy at some point, because she's just. I mean, don't get me wrong. Malcolm Merlyn, bad guy. Slade Wilson, bad guy. Ra's al Ghul, evil, bad guy. Amanda Waller, though, is just like supposed to be a good guy. when I say supposed to, I know she isn't really supposed to be, but like she's working for this organization that's supposed to protect people, but the way she goes about doing it is not good at all. So she's like a bad guy trying to do good things in the worst way possible. And it just feels like, everything that she's threatening Oliver with in these flashbacks and stuff makes me feel like she's going to be a bad guy at some point. That would be fun to see. Because, I mean, she would be able to bring all of Argus down on Oliver and all of his friends. That would be intense. But anyway. And then you'd have, Diggle and Lila. Like, she would have to choose between like the people she's working with and facing off against Oliver. Oh, sorry, it's late. So that would be an interesting turn to take. Another, okay, I'll talk about this one really fast because there are a couple moments I wanted to talk about. The flashback episode where Oliver went back to Starling City. One thing I didn't like about it was the, I guess ironic is the best word to use, the kind of ironic moments that they had. Uh, because you had the moment uh, between Tommy and Thea, where Thea's like, "You're not my brother," and it's just like, aha, I get it, because they actually are brother and sister, they just don't know it yet. And then you had the moment where Oliver breaks into the office, and then Felicity shows up, and she's looking at the pictures like, "Ooh, you're cute," talking to Oliver in the picture. It's like, aha, because they're gonna have a little bit of romantic connection later. I get it. It just kind of felt forced and just like, oh, let's make a joke, guys, and it was a dumb joke. Uh, the good stuff, though, one is something I would like to see more of. We got to see Diggle's brother. I thought they were going somewhere with it, and then they didn't. So even though I say it's a good thing, it kind of wasn't, because I wanted to see more of that. I wanted to see, why are they showing us Andy? You know, where are they going with this? This could be very interesting. And then they didn't go anywhere with it. They just showed him, and then we never saw him again. So, maybe they, crap. Maybe they're showing him so now we know who he is. So if we see him in another flashback, I don't know. Um, but I don't know. I felt like they could have done more with that. But the really good thing about the flashback was that it kind of told the story of Laurel and her dad in the present as well. Because as soon as they showed him in the bar and he's like mourning over Sarah's death, I kind of, because I'm tired, because it's like really late, I'm watching this. Um, it kind of took me back for a second, because I was like, wait, when did he have hair? I thought he was bald. And then as he started drinking, I'm like, oh, okay, wait, okay, this is when Sarah first died, at first. Okay. And then as I kept watching, I realized, oh, they're drawing comparisons, they're doing parallel between then and now. That's pretty good. That's a good way to do this. And at the end, obviously, they flash forward to. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't be doing these late night reviews, but anyway. But they do flash forward, and that's where they have the scene between Laurel and Dad, and that's the scene that I hated. But I do like the fact that they were able to draw those comparisons and kind of show him grieving over Sarah's death without showing the modern time. They were able to show it back when it originally happened and what he's going through again. So that was very well done. That episode, I believe, was also the one where Thea and Oliver ended up on the island with Slade. One, I just like seeing Slade because, frankly, he and Raish both are just exactly what I would picture them to be. Like, from playing Batman games, from watching the Batman, like, cartoon series, from, watching a bit of, what was that? I think that was it. I don't think there was another place where I saw them. Anyway, um, but from those other mediums, and knowing those characters from there, is kind of like, I want to see them like this. And so getting to see them like this is like, this is exactly what I pictured them as. I mean, God, Ra's al Ghul, his voice is exactly what I want it to be. Like, the Ra's al Ghul in Arkham City, mainly because he wasn't in any other games. Anyway, the Ra's al Ghul in that game was good. He kind of has that raspy voice because he's really, really old. But then whenever he gets young, the rasp is still there, but it's kind of like a demonic sounding voice. And it's just like, oh, gives you chills. This guy just captures kind of the intimidation of Ra's al Ghul. The thought of this guy who is the head of the demon doesn't look extremely intimidating, but when he talks, it just kind of sends a chill down your spine. Like, I do not want to mess with this guy. Um, And Slade is another one that, when I picture Deathstroke, this is the guy that I want to see. You know, the voice, the tone, the look of him, and just kind of how he acts is just really kind of what I want to see Deathstroke as. Because he has been kind of pictured. Uh, I'm thinking Teen Titans. That Deathstroke was a bit more. I guess he was less an assassin and more of a kind of a typical villain. You know, he drew a connection with Robin in that series, and he became a typical villain who just wanted to pretty much control and have power. But the Deathstroke that I know from the Batman games and from the animated series is more of an assassin and not exactly completely in control of his emotions. And this is that guy. The Mirakuru is obviously what did it to him, but I kind of like that how he really shows that the Mirakuru affected him, and it shows in his emotional state. So anyway, that episode where they go back to the island and he's there is very well done. So that is pretty much it for what I really liked. Because the rest of it is generally what I come to expect out of this show. It's stuff that I enjoy, but not exactly stuff that I'm going to point out and be like, oh, that was really well done, because the rest of it is what I've come to expect from this show. I will talk about some theories in a second and some future stuff going on. But overall, I have to say that I'm kind of disappointed with this part of this season. It's not that it's bad, but they really did make some strange decisions here and there. And honestly, the way that they handled Thea finding out about it all, I'm kind of holding back on my decision to whether I like it or not, because when she first found out, she was very, very accepting. And I was kind of like, wait, what if this is all Malcolm Merlin's plan? He already told her this stuff, and this is all part of the plan. But as it went on, she just more and more started to hate Malcolm Merlin. And so it's almost like, okay, so this wasn't part of the plan. Like, she really did just accept it and forgive him that quickly. Now, the reason why I'm holding out on judgment is because this really could be like a long con, and really, really tricking Oliver into thinking that she had no idea about any of this. She had no idea about her killing Sarah, about all of this stuff. Oh, I need to sleep so bad. But it could be all part of the plan. I can't imagine that it would be that way, but like, could you imagine if that was all part of Malcolm's plan? Like, she kills Sarah under her complete knowledge. Malcolm knows that Oliver will try to kill Raish to keep him from coming after Thea, and after all of this, he'll know that Oliver will be okay with bringing Thea into the fold, so he'll show her this. And then once he tells her about Sarah, which he knows she will, then she'll reveal it to Laurel. And then on top of that, she will, like, giving him over to the League will make him go take on Raish again and try to take over it could have all been planned. Like, Thea turning him over to the League could have been part of the plan because he knew that Oliver wouldn't allow her to do that. It all still kind of fits into a plan, but at the same time, if none of this is part of the plan, if this is all really just no plan at all, I'm gonna have to say that I'm fairly disappointed. Mainly because Thea really did accept it all way too easily. So that's why I'm kind of holding out my judgment there. I'm not going to say that I'm frustrated yet, because it still could be a part of a brilliant plan set in place by Malcolm Merlin. But if this is not part of the plan, and if this is really just like Thea getting over it way too quickly and giving up Malcolm Merlin that easily, I'm gonna have to say that this show didn't handle it that well. Um, so, it all kind of depends. But the end of this part of the season does get me interested for the rest of the season and what's going to happen. Because we've got Oliver and Diggle going to get Malcolm Merlin back, which has them getting captured. Ra's offers Oliver the chance to take over for him at Head of the Demon, which is weird because I'm going to go here again because I've gone here thrice already, I believe. We have the playboy billionaire who makes his own gadgets and stuff, has his own fighting, stuff like that, no superpowers. He is just really good at fighting, built his own stuff, blah, blah, blah. We have him taking on Head of the Demon, and Ra's al Ghul offers for him to be Head of the Demon. Sound familiar to anybody? Batman. It's Batman. We've had so many moments where I just went, that feels like Batman. Vertigo, as I said before, has pretty much become Scarecrow at this point. Like it's Scarecrow's fear toxin. Yeah. At first it was similar to Scarecrow's fear toxin. I was like, doesn't this feel a bit like Scarecrow? Now it is literally fear toxin. It's just called Vertigo. Now we have the guy who is a Batman-like character, and Ra's al Ghul wants him to take over Head of the Demon and the League of Assassins. And he's probably going to decline because he has a standard not to kill. It feels like Batman. The only way that it could feel even more like Batman is if Felicity was in a wheelchair. She's practically Oracle already. She's just not in a wheelchair. That is the only way that it could be any more like Batman. Not that it's a bad thing, but I wonder if they even notice, or I wonder if they're doing this all on purpose, trying to set it up to feel like Batman, or if this is completely, they just don't see it at all. They just keep doing all this stuff that, guys, I think we should take the story this way. Yeah, that sounds like a good, haven't I heard this story before? Nah, I don't think so. It's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm alone in thinking that. I doubt it, but it feels a lot like Batman to me. But anyway, other interesting points to talk about. Pretty much only two. You've got Diggle and Lila getting married. He asked Oliver to be his best man. Kind of makes you wonder if things are going to go wrong there. Because generally in a show like this, whenever things are looking up, things generally go wrong. So I don't know if something's going to happen to Lila or Diggle or both. I don't know. But it just seemed like kind of out of the blue and almost like they were trying to say, hey, here's some hope in the light of darkness. Now we're going to snuff it out. And then, of course, you've got Thea admitting to Nyssa that she's the one that killed Sarah, and then saying, take your revenge with the sword. Once again, not sure if this is part of the plot or if this is really just Thea being this dumb. But yeah, I don't know where that's going either. Because Nyssa could be like, well, Malcolm Merlin drugged you, so it's still on his head. Or she could just be like, that's true, and then try to kill her, and Thea's just like, nope, turn it around on you. Because I don't think they're going to kill Thea. Uh, call me crazy, but I don't see them killing Thea off. If they're going to, it's going to be in a much different way than just Nissa kills her for killing Sarah. But that's my opinion. Um, but yeah, overall, I'm just really kind of frustrated with some of the decisions they made. Doesn't make me hate the show or anything like that. Doesn't make me want to stop watching. You know, I still do enjoy the fight scenes. Still enjoy the characters at times. It's just sometimes it gets frustrating when characters start acting like idiots and start completely going against what they've been saying recently. So, um, but yeah, let me know what you think down below or what you thought if you watched this before. Um, and yeah, I don't have any other questions because I'm just so tired. I can't think of anything right now. But leave a like and subscribe for more Arrow, and I'll see you at the next part. So, peace out.